Good evening, students, and I'm here to give you the problem statement for the next lab. And I found that this is an innovative way of sharing the problem statement with you. And uh, because, especially with the A1 batch, I could not discuss more about the problem statement, especially with a real-time problem that is based on the fan, the ceiling fan. Okay, so the all of you know how the ceiling fan works. Okay, I have already given the problem description in the Word document, which I'll be sharing with you through email. But in case if some of you do not understand, I'm coming up with this video. So we are going to automate this ceiling fan in Python. So how to do that? So all of you know, as I said, you know the functioning of the ceiling fan. The ceiling fan, especially I want to consider the ceiling fans that are there in your classroom A001, and there are 6 ceiling fans. And since there are 6 ceiling fans, if I want to operate them, then I would consider them as the 6 physical objects. Okay, so I am supposed to operate on those objects. So obviously when I say that the fans are objects, then they must be instance of a class. So I hope you know the ceiling fan is object of which class, so I will not explain that. So the ceiling fan, how does it function? So as we all know, I'll have to, if I want the fan to operate, then I'll have to first switch it on. So as soon as I switch it on, the fan may start rotating or spinning at a particular speed. And what is that speed? I don't know, because it depends on what was the speed set in the regulator when it was switched off previously. So I don't know at what speed it may start spinning, and it may not even spin also. So there are chances that the speed is set to 0, or the speed can be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, because in the ceiling fan regulator knob you will see five speed levels, correct? So as soon as I switch on, there is an initial value that has to be set. So I want you to relate that to the init function that you define inside the class. So whenever a fan object is created, there is an initial value that is set for the speed. So you can consider speed as a data member of fan class. So as soon as I switch on the fan will start rotating. It means switching on the fan refers to creating an object or instantiating process. Okay, so if there are 6 fans, then you can create 6 different objects. Maybe for this example, you can create 2 objects, fan 1 and fan 2. So when I say switch on fan 1, it means I'm instantiating fan 1. Okay, if I say switch on fan 2, then it means instantiating fan 2. Okay, I hope this is clear. Using init function you can do that. And maybe if you want to randomize the speed value as soon as the fan is switched on, then you can use random function also, and initialize the speed of the fan with some random number, but random number should be in the range 0 to 5. Okay, inclusive 0 and 5. So the next function is I may not be happy with the speed, so either I want to increase the speed or I want to decrease the speed. So to increase the speed, let us say there is a function called increment. Okay, incr or increment or whatever, you can give whatever name you want. And if I say I want to increase the speed, then increasing is a process, correct? So increasing is some function that is being applied on the fan that operates, or that can be like a behavior of a fan. So when I say increase, I'll have to call the increment function. And what does this increment function do? Increment function will simply increase, because when you change the knob, it will simply increase the speed value. So if the speed value is 3, and if you call increment function, speed value becomes 4. Again, if you increment the function, speed value becomes 5. The same thing applies to decrement function. If the speed is set to 3, and if I call decrement function, then 3 becomes 2. The speed becomes 2. And again, if I further decrement, the speed gets reduced to 1. Okay, so but I would say in this increment and decrement functions are simply I can call them as dump functions, because increment will simply go on increasing the speed value and decrement function will go on decreasing the speed value. So I would say dump because uh, in the real world, when I go on increasing the speed and when the regulator reaches 5, and if I further call increment function, then 5 will become 0, correct? And that is intelligence in real world, which I cannot simply apply directly in increment function. So increment function, it goes on incrementing because it is just an integer number. So you go on incrementing by 1. So when the speed value is set to 5, the number 5, and you again call increment function, 5 will become 6, because computer just simply increments the number. Okay, sorry for this disturbance. Okay, so similarly decrement function, if I call decrement function on the fan, then decrement goes on decreasing, and when the speed becomes 2, further decrement will become 1, and further decrement call to decrement function will reduce the speed to 0. And again, if you call decrement function when speed has already reached its minimum 0, then speed becomes 5. So if you look at the knob, I think you can understand, and it is very simple logic. So this is some kind of an intelligence that is applied in regulator, but in computer, increment and decrement does not know what is this. After reaching 0 it should become 5, or while calling increment function after reaching 5 it should become 0. So that is an intelligence that is applied, whereas increment and decrement function, basically they are ordinary functions and they are dumb functions. I want you people to add that intelligence whenever I call increment and decrement function. Okay, so adding that intelligence or adding that additional feature to an existing function, we call them as decorators, correct? So whenever I call increment function, see that it is overridden by a decorator function, and decorator function will handle that intelligence. Clear? So in this entire program statement, the second problem, especially in the 12th lab cycle, I want you to implement this particular logic of this ceiling fan, the operation of the ceiling fan in Python programming, by introducing the fan concept in class, define it in a class and create 2 or 3 objects of this fan class. And this fan class should have a variable called speed, and it will have member functions like increment and decrement functions, which I say they are dumb functions. So add that additional intelligence by using decorator functions on these dumb functions. Okay, I hope it is pretty interesting, and if you put some little bit of efforts on this, you will understand, and this program will make you it will help you in understanding some real-time problems and how do I convert that into programming. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy writing program for this, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.